You're watching Color 10 News at 10 in high definition.
Snow flurries are a real possibility overnight. I'm Ashley Katz.
And this is April 23rd. Hello again, everybody. I'm David Oliver. It seems kind of hard to believe this late in April, but tonight, Chief Meteorologist Jamie Warner is tracking the cold conditions that could produce some snow flurries. Jamie?
Yeah, so what do we got right now? Well, right now we've got light rain and drizzle in the Ozarks. Here's the shower activity that we have basically affecting areas south of I-44, but even across this area where you're not necessarily seeing anything get picked up by radar, there's still some light drizzle out there, but it's not this activity that we're really watching. What I'm watching is what's going on in the west. Light snow is falling currently in Wichita, and this band of light snow will likely hold together as it sweeps across much of the Ozarks after midnight tonight. So there will likely be a period of light snow developing across the region after the midnight hour. Now, right now it's 36 degrees. Will we see accumulations? No. There might be some brief, very light slushy accumulations as it's falling, but it really won't amount to very much. Ground temperatures are above freezing, and air temperatures are likely going to remain above freezing for most of us, with the exception of areas along and west of 71. This is where we're going to see some clearing right around sunrise, and that will likely allow temperatures to drop a little bit below the freezing mark there. Light snow will be gone before morning. Looks like we'll start the day off, though, with rather cloudy conditions, but clouds will be on the way out during the morning hours with sunny skies developing for the afternoon. A cool day, though. Will we find warmer weather in the forecast? Eventually. We'll talk about that coming up.
Thanks, Jamie. Fee increases are on the way for parents of Springfield Public School students. Tonight, the school board approved the new costs at a meeting. Color 10's Laura Kennedy is here now to show what you will be paying for. Laura.
Breakfast and lunch costs are going up for those who pay full price for those meals. The lunch for an elementary school student is going up from $2.25 to $2.35. Excuse me, the lunch for high school is increasing from $2.50 to $2.60. Other fees increasing for next year are paid transportation fees. This will affect students who do not live within an area where the district pays for bus service. Those costs will increase $525 for full price and $262 for those on reduced lunch. Teresa Bladeau with the district says the fee increases are set by the state and are based on rising fuel and labor costs.
However, there are some students who choose to use our transportation and pay for that service because they're not eligible for free. And this year, that cost is increasing.
If you would like more information, we have a comprehensive list of the fee changes online. Just find this story on ozarksfirst.com.
All right, Laura Kennedy tonight with us at 10. Thanks. Many high school students pledged to stay safe and sober on prom night today. Over at Springfield Catholic High School, students saw this presentation aimed at teaching them about the consequences of drinking alcohol. The Springfield-based program has now spread to more than 150 schools across the state. One Catholic senior who's in that video told us the videos and the messages really struck a chord.
You have to hit them with the facts that people die from this. People get into accidents. That actually happens. It's not just a story. It hits people around you. It's not just something on the news. It's people close to you too. It's people in your school.
By the way, a special grant from MoDOT helped to take that Safe and Sober program statewide. Color 10 hopes you will pledge to join the No Text Zone. It's an effort to cut down on texting and driving. You'll find it on our website. Last year, Springfield had 19 fatal crashes, killing 22 people. There were 8 crashes in 2011. Investigators believe distracted driving is to blame for many of those crashes. And a jury communications professor talked to us today and says that people have a great desire for communication these days, that they often feel that they need to be texting or talking to others.
When we're using technology all the time, we're rewarded with those short little messages, our short little tweets, our short little status updates. And it feels good, right? We get an instantaneous response. People like our status updates. So we want to keep doing that, and we want that positive feedback because it makes us feel good. So that's positive reinforcement for us to continue doing those things that we were doing. If someone who is texting and driving, chances are they're texting in all facets of their life.
So, you know, Dr. Groves says if you are one of those people who just can't stop texting and driving, he suggests trying to go several hours or maybe even a day without using your cell phone.
New at 10, photos show a scary scene down in Taney County when a minivan ran over a woman. The Western Taney County Fire District actually sent us these pictures here. Investigators say around 4 o'clock that van rolled backwards in a driveway in Hollister, hitting the woman and a 3-year-old girl. The firefighters you see here used an airbag to actually lift the minivan off of the woman and then pull her to safety. The woman and the girl were taken to a Springfield hospital. There's no update on their conditions.
Also tonight, new at 10, a former co-owner of a real estate company admits tonight to defrauding customers. Scott Dessel pleaded guilty today as part of a plea deal with prosecutors. Dessel operated Greenleaf and the real estate company. He and his co-owner were accused of defrauding people who thought they were buying homes from the companies. The homes were really owned by people who invested in the two companies. Banks foreclosed on some of the homes, and those people who thought they were making payments and buying the properties were then forced out.
2 teens charged with murder in Stone County will be tried as adults. Christopher Allen and Anthony Zarro are accused of killing a husband and wife back in January. Those teens are 16 and 17 years old, and they ran away from the Lives Under Construction Boys Ranch in Lampe. Those victims were Paul and Margaret Brooks. Court documents show the teens stabbed and beat the couple before being stopped by a neighbor who called police.
Greene County reveals tonight how it's spending that new law enforcement sales tax. You'll recall voters passed the 1.8-cent sales tax last April. Collection of the money started in October. Now, so far we've learned the county has hired now 52 people to fill new jobs at the sheriff's office, prosecutor's office, and the jail. Through the end of March, the tax raised about $1.9 million, but only a little more than $700,000 has been spent. To see a list of which jobs have yet to be filled with that tax, visit our website, ozarksfirst.com. Also new at 10, you could soon pay sales tax online if a bill makes its way through Congress. Right now, it's still a proposal over in the Senate. It would give states more power to have online businesses outside their borders collect sales tax. Our Kevin Schwaller is live right now to show what you can expect. Kevin?
Yeah, David, this would only apply to businesses making more than $1 million in out-of-state sales. So we're talking about places such as Amazon.com, maybe eBay. And we visited a store today here in Springfield. That's Hoover Music Company. It would not apply to this store. Still, an employee tells us the shop would be willing to collect those online taxes.
When you walk into Hoover Music Company in Springfield, you can pick up an instrument. You can play it.
Chosen based off of how you feel and how you relate to them. A reproduction of the Stradivarius.
Donnie Kraft works in the shop. He notices that even if a customer is ready to buy, a lot of times they walk out without an instrument.
If you're looking at a $2,000 trumpet and a family can pay the exact same price for it with their local brick and mortar or get it online, but that brick and mortar is going to have to collect another $300 or $400 in taxes, then that family, knowing they can get away with not having to pay the taxes online, will elect to skip on the taxes.
That's because out-of-state businesses selling online aren't required to keep that state sales tax money. Now, a bill advancing in the U.S. Senate aims to help states get closer to getting that money.
So it's just a situation of leveling things out the way they should be.
Still, some choose online shopping to save, and this would create an uptick in the cost to the consumer.
Already, the shipping and stuff like that is pretty pricey, and I don't make a ton of money, so yeah, I would rather not have to pay that.
And in a letter to eBay customers, the president and CEO of the company said, "I hope you agree that imposing unnecessary tax burdens on small online businesses is a bad idea. Join us in letting your members of Congress know they should protect small online businesses, not potentially put them out of business."
Now, the National Conference of State Legislatures estimates that states missed out on this number right here, more than $11 billion in this sales tax revenue. Now, in Missouri, it estimates that's about $210 million, a little bit more than that. Now, the interesting thing here is you're actually still supposed to be paying sales taxes or use taxes on these goods, but the stores aren't keeping them. You're actually supposed to report that yourself and send a check to the state. David?
All right, very interesting. Thanks, Kevin. Color 10 now has more political coverage tonight. Arkansas's governor has signed health care expansion into law. This will provide coverage to 250,000 uninsured Arkansans. The Arkansas legislative session also ended today. Lawmakers passed more than 1,400 bills into law.
Also tonight, new at 10, you're going to find books galore at bargain prices this week once again in Springfield. It is time for the Friends of the Library Spring Book Sale. It's underway now at Remington's on West Republic Road. You will find thousands of deeply discounted books, some priced as low as 50 cents. And about half of the books are donated by the library, and the rest come from the people of the Ozarks.
Our philosophy has been not to sell. You know, we do have dealers that come here from other places, but we like to recycle our books to the people in the Ozarks so that, you know, it's the Ozarkers helping the Ozarkers.
85% of the book sales go back to the library. Last year it helped buy a new bookmobile and delivery van for the library. The book sale lasts through Sunday over there at Remington's. Well, competitive sports are growing in popularity for kids every year.
And with all that extra activity, doctors are noticing a trend in injuries.
There's no worse feeling than not being able to be out there with your team.
Tonight in our Family Matters report, which young athletes are most at risk.
You can follow Color 10 News through Facebook, and you can do that by finding that little Facebook icon right there at ozarksfirst.com, and just like our Facebook page. In tonight's Family Matters report here at 10, with more and more kids playing competitive sports all year, more and more young athletes are suffering overuse injuries.
And new research shows those most at risk specialize intensively in just one sport. Color 10's Shannon Miller has more on how athletes can stay competitive and healthy.
What's up? How are you today?
16-year-old Amoja Robinson is a track star running 10 miles a day.
7 days a week, whatever the weather is, you gotta run.
But now Dr. Jason Baines ordered him off the field because of a stress fracture.
And show me exactly, if you could, with one finger, where the majority of the pain is.
right about here.
Loyola University researchers studied more than 1,200 patients between the ages of 8 and 18. They found young athletes like Robinson who train intensively in one sport are more likely to suffer stress fractures and other serious overuse injuries.
This injury usually occurs when a person has been doing the same activity over and over again for a period of 9 to 12 months.
Dr. Baines encourages young athletes to take at least one day off from training each week.
Take at least a month off between seasons to let your body fully recuperate after a long season. Take, when I say a month, roughly 3 to 4 weeks.
He also says children and teens should not play sports for more hours than their age each week. So when Robinson fully recovers, he should not run more than 16 hours per week.
There's no worse feeling than not being able to be out there with your team.
His doctor expects him to be back on the track this spring. For Color 10 News, I'm Shannon Miller.
Researchers also suggest children and teens not specialize in a sport before late adolescence.
Well, it seems kind of late in the year for freezing weather, but Jamie, the Ozarks could really see that stuff out there tonight.
Yeah, I got to say this, Oh, snow. That's right. We're talking about a little bit of snow after midnight for parts of the Ozarks. We'll take you hour by hour, show you how that will impact the region overnight tonight. And we'll also talk about some much, much warmer readings later in the forecast. It's all coming up next.
And now weather with Color 10 News Chief Meteorologist Jamie Warner.
Welcome back. Well, we've seen a lot of rain here over the last 24 hours, at least in parts of the area, and we could see a little bit of snow after midnight. Let's take a look at the rainfall totals, though, from the last day and a half. And you can see that most of the rain has actually been confined to areas north of I-44. This is where most locations picked up between a half an inch and an inch of rainfall. But look at that cutoff. As you drop south of I-44, less rain, especially once you get south of the state line. That's where most locations south of the border across northern Arkansas only picked up a few 100s. alerts. Now, there is some light rain falling in those areas now, including Harrison, over through Yellville and into the Mountain Home area. You can see that extends north and east across the eastern Ozarks. But even though we're not really showing much on radar here, we've still got some drizzle out there. It is just nasty outside, just cold, damp, breezy, and then off to the west we've got this band of snow, and that will be sweeping across the area later on tonight. Now, temperatures are cold. We started off today at midnight at 60. By 7 o'clock in the morning we were down to 52. By noon we were down to 45. And now we're in the 30s. 36 currently in Springfield, as well as Joplin, 37 in Clinton. Areas to our east that enjoyed really a pretty mild day. West Plains down to Mountain Home. Well, you're behind the front now, and you are sharing in this cold weather that we're finding now across the Ozarks. And wind chills. It's breezy out there. We've actually got wind chills, what it feels like in the 20s here on the 23rd day of April. Here's our storm. Here's the setup. The front is actually located to our southeast. You can kind of see showers and thunderstorms sort of lighting up along that front right about in here. Most of the lift, though, has been on the back side of that frontal boundary. That's why most of the rain has occurred on the back side of the front. And then back to the west, this is actually the trough that's going to be making its way across the Ozarks and putting an end to the precipitation that we have in the region. But as it comes through, it will generate a period of light snowfall for the area. Let's take you hour by hour. Start you off at 10 o'clock. Again, most of the light showers located here, but again, still some patchy drizzle back to the west. That will continue to sort of edge on off towards the east. May get some redevelopment across the eastern Ozarks. And then after midnight, you can see this band of snow kind of sweeping in, sneaking in from the west. By 5 o'clock, it's located along and north of I-44. By 7 o'clock, it makes its way to about Dent County and Wright County. And then from there, it will quickly exit the region. Now, we'll start the day off with a lot of clouds, but I think during the morning hours those clouds will erode from west to east, and once we get into the afternoon we're just going to find sunny skies across the Ozarks, and we'll be setting the stage for another cold night and possibly frosty night Wednesday. Another rainstorm, though, still slated for later this week. This is where it is right now. Doesn't look like much, but that will spin in the atmosphere, will tap into some moisture as it makes its way in the central portion of the country, and that'll make for a chilly, soaking rain event, I think, on Friday. Not expecting severe weather, but we could pick up some decent rainfall amounts, maybe around an inch. Here's some good news, though. This storm not coming out of the northwest or the north, so we're not going to see it tap into any really cold air. It looks like temperatures will actually get very warm as we work through the weekend and beyond. 33 overnight tonight for the low here in Springfield. It looks like a little bit below freezing along in west 71. That's why we have that freeze warning in effect. As far as the snowfall, yeah, we could see a little bit of snow, but I'm not expecting any accumulation, so that should not be a worry for us. 53 for the high tomorrow with clearing skies during the morning hours. You can see the warmest readings actually down in the south across northern areas of Arkansas. A little pop in the temperatures on Thursday, then we get that cool rain on Friday. Saturday, clearing skies, but we may not get enough sun to really warm those temperatures up. So it looks like mid to upper 60s, but then after that, sunshine and highs well into the 70s. And wouldn't be surprised if Monday and Tuesday of next week, we're not up around 80 degrees. So this is just sort of a little blip we've got to get through. Right. This cold that we're dealing with right now.
And my only disappointment in tonight's forecast is the fact that you did not wear the snow tie.
Where is the snow tie,
Jamie has a tie that he calls the snow tie. It's kind of turquoise, got some
little
and now we won't
dots
even
on
see
it.
it again until next year, right?
Maybe you can wear it tomorrow if we do get the snow.
I'll
like
wear
you're
it tomorrow,
saying.
David. I've outed you on the snow tie.
Nobody
knows the secret. Hey, it's fun stuff. All right.
Every weather guy needs a snow tie.
Jamie. You bet. You bet.
Got a strikeout of Harper.
The St. Louis Cardinals were shooting for 2 straight wins.
Dan Lucy has the highlights of that, and he will tell you who the next Drury women's coach will be. That's next in sports.
And now, the Chevy Dealer Sports Report with Dan Lucy.
Drury hired Steve Huber today to become the Lady Panthers' third head basketball coach. Huber coming to Springfield from Omaha, where he was Jim Flannery's top assistant at Creighton for the past 7 seasons. Huber replacing Steve Harold, who resigned following this past year. The 52-year-old was also an assistant coach at both Louisville and San Diego State in Division I, and at Central Missouri at the Division II level. He was also the head coach at NAIA Benedictine for 5 seasons in the mid to late 90s. Huber will be introduced to the media tomorrow and says he's elated by the opportunity and knows all about Lady Panther tradition started by Nyla Millison. Drury Athletics Executive Director Matt Miller says Huber was the perfect hire.
It was not an easy process, certainly, and there were obviously some finalists with some local ties here, and it made it more difficult. At the end of the day, we really believe that we've got somebody in Coach Huber that's going to be a tremendous fit and is going to take the Lady Panther program and get it back to the level that our fans expect, that our school expects, and we're just very excited about Coach.
The St. Louis Cardinals continued their road trip tonight in our nation's capital. The Cards looking for their second straight win against the Nationals in Washington, D.C. Going into the game, St. Louis was a half game behind the Reds in the Central. Washington started Missouri State product Ross Detweiler against Adam Wainwright. Detweiler would get Matt Carpenter to strike out swinging right here. St. Louis would get to the former Bear, though, in the 4th inning. Alan Craig would shoot this one into the right field corner, a double. That scores Shane Robinson, and it was a 1-0 St. Louis lead. And then later in that 4th inning, Carlos Beltran singles to right. Craig scores to make it 2-0 St. Louis, and that was all that Adam Wainwright would need. He would get Bryce Harper to strike out swinging right here. Waino pitched into the 9th inning. He would get Adam LaRoche to strike out looking at the Uncle Charlie right there. He goes 8 1/3, no runs, 9 strikeouts. Cardinals win 2-0. So the Cardinals are 12-8. Tomorrow afternoon they will send Jaime Garcia to the hill against the Nationals. Tonight's cold, wet weather postponed tonight's Springfield Cardinals game with Northwest Arkansas. They'll play a doubleheader tomorrow starting at 11. It'll be 2 7-inning games. Springfield has won 6 of the last 7. Rain also washing out tonight's American League Central battle between the first place Kansas City Royals and Detroit. It's the first rain out of the year for the Royals. Game will be made up, but not in this series. Royals have a half-game lead on the Twins and a game-and-a-half lead on the Tigers. St. Louis Blues on their home ice tonight, hoping to pick up at least 1 point. That would propel the Blues into the NHL playoffs. Earlier this week, Colorado denied St. Louis that berth by beating the Blues in Denver. Tonight's action, downtown St. Louis at Scott Trade Center. St. Louis would strike first in the first. Jordan Leopold with the slapper. It's tipped in front by Chris Stewart. Here's another look at it. It's 1-0 Blues. Blues would get more in the second. Patrick Berglund with the slap shot. That's his 16th goal of the year. 2-0, and then Andy McDonald gets another one in that second. Blues win 3-1. St. Louis advancing to the playoffs for a second consecutive year. The 91st annual Aldo Sieben High School Track and Field Relays over at Missouri State had to battle drizzle and rain this afternoon at the Placer Sports Complex. This is the oldest high school invitational track meet in the nation. More than 1,000 track and field athletes representing 78 teams took part in this competition. Both boys and girls divisions. On the girls' side, the Ozark Tigers scored 85 points, beat Bolivar by 22, and Lincoln Prep was third. On the boys' side, Lamar scored 103 points to win by 20 points over Parkview. Ozark was third. Wet, cold day at track.
Not a good spring day for that. All right, thanks, Dan.
We'll see if Jamie's got some better weather after this.
Here are tonight's winning lottery numbers. Color 10 News will continue in a moment.
Well, right now, folks, we're looking at some drizzle outside, but maybe a little light snow after midnight and then sun returning tomorrow.
That's our time. Good night.
Good night.